everyone. I'm Kristen Ciccolini.
And I'm Janine Malone.
And you're listening to It's Just a Phase. Each week, we'll bring you inspiring and informative conversations about honoring the different cycles of life, covering topics of health and wellness, moon phases, astrology, witchcraft, feminism, and more, so you can superpower your well-being and live your best life. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Kristen.
How are you doing this week?
Oh, fine. Hanging in there. How are you?
I am. I'm hanging in there somehow.
Holding on for dear life.
Yes, this week has been kind of wild.
Super wild. I feel like I've said that every single week this whole year.
Yeah, but now I finally agree with you.
Yeah. Perfect.
Now we're finally on the same wavelength.
Yes.
And now, as we always are, we're sweating in our closets. If anyone has any suggestions for how not to do that, I feel like we should just have like a sheet over our heads, like in a cooler room.
Yes.
Or you know what? One of those like spray fans.
Ooh,
we could just squirt on us up and
that would
down.
feel really good right now.
Yeah.
Because of course, the day we're recording is like 3,000% humidity.
Yeah. It's like raining inside the closet.
If it sounds like we're underwater, it's because we are.
Literally, metaphorically.
Yes. We're talking about water energy today. There's just water everywhere.
Water,
Okay.
water. Also, you're underwater because you're so busy working on your new project, which is something very exciting that you'll finally, I'm sure, be relieved once it's birthed into the world. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yes. I definitely feel like I could go really deep and dark with the birthing metaphor, but I won't. I'll save you all that visual. But yes, my Spring Tides website is relaunching this week. It's been under construction for a little while as I figured out kind of like what I wanted on there and some projects, either wrapping up or being launched. And this week is finally the week. So I've been working with an amazing designer, Megan Kane, who, if she's listening, hi, Megan, I love you so much. I'm so sorry for everything that I've ever done to you. She's incredible. And so we're relaunching the website this week. And throughout this process, which I'm sure everyone has picked up on because all of our listeners are so intuitive and sensitive and empathic, have known probably that I've been a little stressed trying to figure out the future of my business. And so Springtide is going to become all about like personal cycle syncing and aligning with the seasons and kind of that like tarot-y, witchy lifestyle content that I love to write and do so much. And then all of my business consulting is moving under a new brand called Feel Good Retail, which I'm so excited to get to like launch and share with everyone. And
yay!
Yes, it feels really good. Which is exactly how I keep describing it, which keeps feeling like either the lamest marketing or just like, oh, this was the perfect name. But super excited. So a lot more to come. If y'all are on my newsletter list, you'll see a lot of photos and links and cool, exciting things. But for now, it just feels good to like get to share that. Honestly, it feels like a long time coming. So thank you to Kristen for listening to my inane bitching about this for the last 3 months.
Hey, we rely on each other for all these things. So
yeah, you guys are lucky we start recording after our like 15-minute like catch up sessions. Yeah. But I'm so excited. So that feels really, really good. I'm very happy, really excited to get those things out in the world and like just start doing the damn thing. I don't do so great in the messy middle, so I'm happy to be seeing the light of day.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it because you have been working on it for a long time, and I know you kind of felt a little out of alignment with what you've been doing. Do you want to share a little bit about why you decided to sort of break it apart?
Yeah, totally. So I mean, Springtide started really from this place of being a personal journey for me and like getting back into alignment with my own values and launching my business and doing all these things. And that was almost 3 years ago. So I think that I'm just at this place where like all of the kind of individual, personal, cyclical content, even like this podcast, feels really good and it's very important to me and it's like so much of what I believe in. But when I was going to write like business content, it just really didn't want to live under springtide. And it was feeling like there was just a lot of, uh, it just wasn't feeling in alignment for me, you know? Like, I think that it's one of those things like, you know, when you know, you know. And so I have just been feeling really good about getting clarity there, about having these two things like live separately but like function under the same belief system, which is that
Hmm.
like living in this really linear patriarchal way is unhealthy for us and it makes us feel, you know, burnt out and like we don't know what's best for us and like we're never allowed to rest or any of that. So I'm just feeling really good to get to like explore those different areas like a little bit more um in depth rather than kind of having them always feel related, if that makes sense. Maybe that still feels vague as hell, but
No, it does. And I think, what's really funny is that we're both in the same, I think we both started our businesses like what, 3, almost 4 years ago now. Um, and it's funny that at the same time, we're both branching our businesses off in 2 different areas.
yeah.
Um, like literally the exact same time.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, just for context, so this isn't something I'm necessarily going to talk about on the podcast, but I also am like offering services for other nutritionists and health coaches and helping them build their own businesses, but or through workshops. But yeah, that's something I'm launching as well. And we've both been working on these like separate aspects of our business, and it's just funny that it just all kind of came out at the same time. And I think what you said a few episodes ago is like that year 3 is when you hit your stride and when you're figuring out
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing. So we're both on the same we're on the same wavelength today.
As always. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree and I think that like I think for a long time and again, this is just a belief that I think a lot of us have in different areas is that like everything I don't know. I just came up against a lot of like perfectionism and was feeling like, no, it has to like still all exist under one umbrella. And I'm like, it
Mm.
just doesn't feel good that way though. Like, and I don't know, it's this summer has been a real lesson in really learning to like listen to myself and trust myself. And um I think the timing energetically in terms of like year 3 and moving into fall, like it all makes total sense. But I'm just excited to be on this and this side of it.
Yeah, I
I'm sure you
bet.
are too.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I'm sure everyone else is
Thanks.
also looking forward to this, and we'll keep you all updated on any other new developments that happen.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure like next week I'll probably feel a little bit more uh I'll have more words to say, but I'm like my brain's a little toasted.
Well, sorry for forcing you to do that.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh my God, please. Thank you. I need the invitation. You know
Yes,
that.
projector coaxed it out of you. Yeah, so on that note, we'll move into the cosmic update. So the week of September 21st, we have the first quarter moon in Capricorn.
Thank God.
So there's a couple different aspects to this that we wanted to talk about, and the first is that it's a waxing moon in a waning season. So I know some people have written to us and also to both of us like separately, like how do we combine these two different things, like if whatever's going on in a cycle isn't going on with what's in the moon phases, and just working with the competing energies that are happening simultaneously, like how does that work? So waxing moon in a waning season, how can we combine those two seemingly competing energies in a way that serves us? So it's a good time to really reflect on all of the lessons that you've learned in 2020 so far. So think about what really fills you up. And we've had a lot of time to think and to experience essentialism this year, not in the philosophical Platonic version, but the one, where we make do with less. We've definitely had to do a lot of that this year. So thinking of that, thinking of what's happened in 2020 for you, what themes have come up this year for you, what values have you stuck with throughout the year despite all the chaos, what has simply felt good or soothing to you this year. It's
Mm.
just a good time to think about things that have built you up rather than weighed you down, and how you can incorporate that into next season or in 2021, which we hope is not as much of a terrible year. Dear God.
Literally, like, please, God.
Yeah.
We can't do it again.
I
But
can't
yeah,
even
I think
imagine
that
that we're thinking about 2021 right now. I feel like just yesterday it was March.
I know. Dean and I were just having this conversation about like we are trying to remember the last time we saw someone, and I'm like, it just feels like there's this huge black hole in the year because I'm like, okay, if we didn't see them around the holidays last year, we haven't seen them in a year,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? But I'm like, that seems crazy. Time is wild. So
You know what's really funny is just like physically seeing people. Dan was mentioning this the other day, is that he's hired people since they reopened that he's like never seen their face. They're like
oh
full
my
face
God.
because they have to wear
Right.
masks at work. And you like that's not something we really think about. But
That is
yeah,
crazy.
they or he said that
He's
like
like, "Do you have a weird mustache?"
yeah. No,
Who
someone did.
knows?
Someone did. And I think one of the employees like took their mask down to take a sip of water or something, and he's like, "Oh, never saw your full face. Great."
Oh wow, that's what you have a weak chin, buddy.
Oh, that's too bad. But yeah,
Ah.
just a fun anecdote
It's
there.
a crazy, crazy time. I mean, I am very happy that we're like back into an earth-based sign for this moon phase.
Mhm.
I need it to like get me over this launch hump, but
Yes.
we're really like getting back down to business, starting to build energy in a way that like supports our investments. So our investments of time, energy, money, space, whatever that is for you, starting to create plans, collaborating with others, stepping into your power, your authority. Like every time I think of Capricorn, I really do just think of like the little goat on the mountainside, just like really making his way up, you know?
Mhm.
So just trying to keep that energy, not get burnt out, but just really stay determined, maybe is the word.
Yeah. In a
Hopeful and
challenging,
determined.
challenging year.
Yeah.
Un Unprecedented times, challenging
Yeah.
times.
My God. Truly, though.
Now more than ever.
Um,
Sorry.
I'm obsessed with like TikToks and videos and stuff people are doing where they do like fake 2020 commercials
Oh
like for
yeah.
brands, and they're just like, in these unprecedented times, Craft Singles is here for you.
Yeah.
Like it makes
We're
me laugh
in this
so hard.
together.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God. Um this week we're also moving from Virgo season to Libra season, which means we're moving from earth to air. So again, we have that kind of like rush of movement. Libra is a super harmonious and really like lovely sign. I love Libra. I'm Libra rising. I find it like the only thing that keeps me sane. Um, and yeah, I just really like this time of year. I think that I find the idea of balance to be really welcome right now as opposed to totally laughable. And so it kind of like feels nice to kick off fall with Libra season because we're kind of getting back into some semblance of a routine, of some kind of structure, of like embracing a little bit more self care, which we'll talk about on this episode. But it's a really good time to just like notice what makes you feel whole and balanced and what makes you feel in integrity. So it's not like a one size fits all. It's just a really good time to start paying attention to how or when or with whom you're feeling your best and trying to cultivate more of that. Easier said than done, but can happen. Do you have any intentions for our new season, Kristen?
Yeah, my biggest intention is to just go with the flow, which is hard to do as a Virgo.
Sure.
Yeah. I've been spending the last few months focused on really rigid plans around research and creation. And like I said, I'm launching my new program really soon. And I just have to remember that there's only so much I can control about it. I have my spreadsheets. I think I mentioned spreadsheets on like every single episode, but I've got those going for me. So I need to remind myself that like my plans are in place to support myself And I'm doing that as best as I can. And if anything else veers off course, it's like it's not the end of the world. I have to tell myself that.
Yeah.
So my intention is just to remember to take things as they come, take them in stride, and not freak out.
My I'm kind of similar, like definitely go with the flow, but also like releasing expectations for me, which I feel
Mm,
like is related to kind of to what you were saying, and really like following what feels good. I am really working on reconnecting with my creativity and like focusing on my health overall, and kind of like you said, like letting things flow rather than like forcing things into a particular like order or plan or box, or like following someone else's playbook. I don't know. I know I've talked before on an episode, maybe like before the summer, about like hitting some like limiting beliefs, and I feel like I definitely was just like, oh well, I'll just like, try to keep up and like do what I think other people are doing, and that feels like really disempowering and really bad. And so I'm just trying to spend this season like coming back to my own process and like not judging myself for it, and just trying to, shall we say, love myself, accept myself, all those fun things, no big deal, but
yeah. Well, I mean, all of that helps you spend less time worrying about other people, other things that like don't or that shouldn't affect you, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So also on the calendar, so September 22nd, as well as the fall equinox, it's also National Voter Registration Day. So very important. If you
Huge.
moved recently, if you haven't moved recently, regardless, wherever you are, check your voter registration status if you care about changing this absolute hellscape we're living in. Tell all your friends, post it on social media, ask your neighbors if they're registered. Feel free to volunteer to be a poll worker as well if you feel safe doing that. Just try to contribute to the cause where you can, and just try to remind everyone to vote and to register to vote. So you can check out your registration at nationalvoterregistrationday.org. Easy to remember. And, if we want to end this current cycle of heinous individualism, racism, capitalism, your vote 100% matters and your voice needs to be heard.
Yes, that is the most important thing that we can do this entire fall, is vote. So if you
Yes.
take one
So
thing away from this podcast today, vote.
vote.
Vote, you guys.
Guys, come on.
Come on.
You know
So,
what? The cool kids vote.
yeah,
And the
I'm
un- and
registered.
and the
I
uncool
checked.
kids vote. Everyone votes. Just do
Yeah,
it.
obviously, and the uncool kids vote
Yeah.
because here we are. Ugh,
Oh, we think we're so funny.
I know. All we can do is laugh because everything else is misery.
I just thought of the gif of
Vote.
Elmo with the fire behind
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, my
basically.
constant state.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey everyone, Kristen here. Just wanted to take a quick pause from the show to invite you to my free workshop on September 30th. We're going to be talking about the patriarchy versus your body, how to take back your reproductive freedom from the patriarchy, reduce PMS symptoms, and superpower your menstrual cycle. In the live workshop, we're going to cover how our health and hormones are impacted by patriarchal standards of living, including the lack of education there is around menstruators' bodies in science and medicine. We'll talk about why diet culture and emotional eating are feminist issues. And then finally, it's not all rage inducing. We're going to talk about what you can do to leave all that behind, live cyclically, and tend to your body's unique needs. The goal of this workshop is ultimately to help you understand how you can embrace your own inner power and align your life with the flow of your menstrual cycle, and really implement a lot of what you've learned on this podcast too. So I'm really excited for this workshop and would love to see you there. Yes, you. talking to you, my lovely podcast listener, and you can sign up for the workshop at goodwitchkitchen.net/workshop. It's happening September 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'd love for you to be there live to get the most out of it. But if you can't, no worries. You can still smash the patriarchy at your convenience because I will send a recording. So sign up, goodwitchkitchen.net/workshop. There'll be a link in the show notes, and I will see you there. Back to the show. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, this week we're giving you a masterclass on fall energy. So, if
Woohoo!
you listen to our very first episode, you know that the seasons offer us a rubric to think about the cycle of energy throughout a year. So, fall, which we are entering this week, is a great time to deepen our commitments to what feels good. So, reflect on our values, find a sense of flow, prune the things that just aren't working or maybe aren't sustainable, whether they're like bad habits or toxic relationships or distractions or whatever may be getting in your way. Now is the time to lovingly let that shit go and focus on what really matters and feels important to you, which I know for me feels like a welcome, energetic change from our fiery summer.
I think as an alternate title to this podcast should just be the Feel Good Podcast.
Please feel, yeah, right?
That's all we want for you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's all. That's all we want for anyone, really.
And so, as a refresher, fall is ruled by water. It's associated with the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle and the waning moon. So, it's a great time for wrapping things up and evaluating what you've learned. It's also it's like when we talked about Q3 being the time of year that we really get our shit together and start to thrive. It's because we've tried all those new things, we put ourselves out there. Now we know what fits and what doesn't. And it's time to recalibrate, refine, and rework our current processes, whether those processes are business related, creativity, your personal habits, relationships, whatever it is, just reflect. So all of these words: reflect, recalibrate, refine, rework. So what do you think of? What comes to mind to you, Janine, when you think of fall?
Oh, so much. I love fall. I think it might be, I don't know that I have a favorite season, I guess, but fall might be it. It'd be whatever, doesn't matter. But
I love all
I think
seasons except winter.
yes. But yeah, I think about like moving at a little bit of a slower pace. The smell of like crisp fall air, getting to sleep with the windows open as opposed to just like in air conditioning. Like I said a few episodes ago, when fall comes around, it really feels like a new year. So there's always something about this time of year that feels like kind of a recommitment to things that matter to me, that I always really look forward to. I also, we got married on the fall equinox. So now it's
Ooh.
an especially nice time to kind of like celebrate like my loved ones, my relationships. I always think of like friends and shared meals and just like togetherness. I don't know. So it's just a really, especially like the beginning of fall, like September, October, feels like such a loving time. And so
Yeah.
I'm happy to move into it.
I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
I think of all the typical things that come with fall. So, Salem, number one, sad that I can't visit this year due to COVID, but um, yeah, Salem, I love going there. I already mentioned that. I love doing Halloween stuff there and just, walking around the water. It's just a really beautiful place to be. So that's usually my first thought when it comes to fall, but also leaf peeping. Um,
Yes.
have you ever been on the Kangamangas Highway, I think it's
Oh,
called?
you know it, girl?
Yeah, I don't know how to spell it, so I think that's how you say it. But yeah, we did that
Yeah.
last year, and it was really nice to see all the changing leaves. And I mean, anywhere in New England, you can really see changing leaves, but it was a really nice drive and fun to stop at different places along the way. It's like, what is it, like the national forest along the way?
Yeah.
That you can
I
stop
think
at, yeah.
so.
Yeah, and you can there's like these overlooks that you can see a really nice area, take pictures, post them on Instagram. Um,
It's really lovely. Like, it's
yeah,
such a nice thing.
yeah,
Also, just like going for a drive. Like, what a nice concept.
yeah.
You
With the
know?
windows down, you got that crisp fall breeze.
Ugh, best.
Hashtag. New England things.
Yes, totally.
Adding to that, apple picking. I love apple
Hell
picking.
yeah.
Yeah. That's always fun, like climbing the ladder, getting the one at the top of the tree.
Yes.
And then also like similar to what you were saying, like with friends and shared meals, just thinking about preparing for the holidays and um, my
Yeah.
parents tend to ask me what we're doing for Thanksgiving in like September. So
Oh my God, I love that.
so
We
that's
are a
why I
big
start to think
Thanksgiving
of it.
family.
Yeah. But it's like they wanna like claim the children first before
Oh,
we make any
yeah.
other plans, like who gets the kids for the holidays.
Yes. No,
um
it's so true.
yeah, so there's a lot of planning there.
Good. Ugh, just feels good. I'm ready.
Yeah, I love fall. I mean, I said I love summer too and wasn't ready for fall yet, but I'll warm up to
But
it.
now that it's 3000% humidity, maybe I take it back.
Yeah. Exactly. Could use
Ugh.
that breeze.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What I wouldn't give for a crisp fall breeze. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know, there's something about all of that that like also feels maybe it's because we are New England ladies, but like that does feel very emotional. And
Mm,
again, like relating to fall being ruled by water, like in the tarot, water is associated with the cups and it kind of rules our like intuitive and emotional realm. So anytime I even think about I feel like it's just a kind of an emotional season, like between the holidays and like back to school. And like there's just a lot of like memory, I think, associated with fall. And so I always really like to work with the cups this time of year. And I just kind of feel like there's in that whole suit, there's this like returning to self. So, when we're kind of invited to make this considered effort to kind of recenter and listen to our own inner wisdom and honor our emotions in a way that like allows us to find alignment and also trust ourselves. Like, and I think about that with like emotional memories too, like noticing what feels good rather than thinking like that should feel good, like actually paying attention to what is happening versus what you're expecting to have
mm,
happen. And kind of the journey between like, yeah, knowing when it's time to let go of something or time to move on or time to make a change or like I said, just kind of like retreat back to yourself and use your own intuition as your guide rather than looking outside yourself. And I think that that feels really good to me. Again, from coming from a season that is much more external and much more about like these big actions, with fire energy. Water always obviously feels a little soothing. What do you think of when you think of the cups in the tarot?
they're always I look at them in a really positive way whenever it comes up. It's just it makes me feel really inspired or like kind of
Yeah.
excited, like something positive is coming to me. Um, yeah, I mean, I have almost no water in my chart at all, but
Mm,
it's the symbol I feel like I'm connect with the most in the tarot. So maybe because I don't have anything in my chart like that, it's something that lights me up because I'm so used to everything else. It's like different and exciting for me. So
yeah.
just connecting with my emotions, intuition, my inner world, that's something that I have to actively work on. It's I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not necessarily unnatural, but like I said, it's not part of my natal chart, so I think that could be a reason why I connect with it so much. But ultimately, when I get that in a reading, I feel really positive about it.
Yeah, like you're giving kind of being given like permission in a way to
Hmm.
like tap into that side of ourselves, which again, like water is an energy that like is very feminine and is very intuitive and that's just like not super highly rewarded in
Hmm.
the world that we live in. So I think that like I feel the same way about when cups come up, even when it's like 5 of cups or 8 of cups or something that like maybe isn't fun to deal with, but it's like a reminder and permission to be like empowered by your own knowing rather than feeling like you're either getting like swept up in a tidal wave of other people's expectations or like that I don't know, it feels empowering to me.
Hmm. Can I ask you about one particular card?
Yes.
Okay, so the Four of Cups to me always like that's probably the one where it doesn't feel like super inspiring. It makes me laugh a little bit just because the way I look at it is like the guy, he's like sitting by the tree and he's just like got his arms crossed, like really petulant, kind of like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want this, you know? So like how do you interpret that card? Is it do you look at that in a positive way or
Yeah,
what
I
does it do?
do. I mean, I really look at the Four of Cups as like, because the fours are super foundational. So they always, to me, feel like not necessarily like a test. I don't want to say that, but like that there's this moment where you're kind of reminded, like, I have the choice here to engage with with this energy. So, like, for the cups, like my intuition. And I feel like with the four, it's like you may be offered things that, like, I often say in readings to people, like with the Four of Cups, like it's kind of like a rebound relationship. Like it's being offered to you and it might feel good in the moment, but like in your gut, are you like, this is not what I need right now? And
Mm,
like, are you able to actually stay focused on like long-term alignment versus like something that would like maybe inflate your ego or like feel good in the moment, versus, you know, something that you're like, okay, this is gonna like get me a little bit off track. Does that make sense?
yeah, that's a good point too about it being more of a choice rather than like the way like I said, the way I looked at it is just like being stubborn about something, like
Totally.
not accepting something that may be positive that's being offered to you and I don't know, I like that it's a choice. Like maybe instead of being petulant, he's sitting there actually thinking about whether he wants it or not. So,
Yeah. And also like owning like not necessarily the shadow side of that card, but like the side of that card where like we have to realize that it's also like our boundaries are important and like our emotional boundaries especially, so that like even if we look, even if to other people we may appear as if we're being petulant or being like too choosy or difficult, like if we know something isn't for us, we shouldn't take it just to make other people feel more comfortable,
mm,
you know?
yeah, that's a good point, and thank you for answering my selfishly curious question. I
Oh,
know we
of
got a little off
course.
track, but
Hey, anytime. I know,
um,
I want to look at how that, I'll see how that card shows up in other decks because I can picture it very vividly, obviously, in the Rider Waite, but
mhm.
I think that there's been some interesting interpretations. I'll have to see.
Yeah, and I
Maybe
know you
post them.
use the Lioness Oracle, right?
I do.
How is it? How does it look in that one?
I'm like trying to remember.
I'm gonna Google
For some reason, I like can't. I'll find and post a photo of it on Instagram or something. I'm like, I don't know why my brain's totally blanking. It must be one that doesn't come up very often in that
it. Yeah.
um, deck. I think
Um,
it's similar. I actually think there's like a woman and there's like, she's like on some flat, like on a little, looks like a little hillside, and there's like one.
yes, I just looked it up. There's a lot of like orange in there.
Yeah. Anyways, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's like a little. I mean, I love that deck because it's a little bit gentler. It's like less.
it's a beautiful deck.
Yeah, yeah, it's
The
gorgeous.
it's like it's definitely more abstract too.
Yes, which I love, especially
Um,
for reading for people. But
yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So that was a fun discussion. I
But yeah,
love,
I mean, tarot's a good practice this time of year, you know? Like we're reflecting, we want that kind of like not necessarily external validation, but we need some like mirroring.
hmm
And I think tarot's a good tool for that.
yeah, for sure. I love talking about tarot. We should
Too.
do a tarot focused episode in the future. If you guys want to
Yeah.
hear something like that, let us know what you'd be interested in, especially like any, I mean, not just tarot, but like any other topics that you'd be interested in hearing. We love to hear from you. So
Yes.
let us know.
Please.
Um, all right. So moving on. So, how about some self care for fall? How do you
Mm.
change your self care for the fall phases?
Oh, I mean, I do a lot. I'm like boundaries, 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 which is kind of my practice always, which I'm really bad at, which is why I need to practice all the time. Um, but yeah, I also think that like I think of focusing my energy as self-care for fall. I know that might seem like a little abstract, but whether it's like a long-term project or a particular area of my life, or I just like try to invite myself to slow down enough to be like very present in what I'm doing and also like get deep into it, rather than trying to do a thousand things at once. So, like, whether that's, like I said, a work project or like even something silly like just getting lost in, making a meal or reading a book or going for a walk or something, like, I really try to like be there and be focused on what I'm doing rather than, multitasking. It's almost like a constant, in meditation where they're like, you just call yourself back, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of always trying to do that in the fall. Um, because I feel like it's just such a time of like being able to find some depth, like if you commit to something, like the what you can find when you are really clear about like the one thing you're working on. What's that saying? Like you can do 10 things mediocre, you can do like one thing well.
Mm-hmm.
Try to just do that, which again, in this distracted world is not easy, but it's definitely like I always feel like I see the reward of doing that, and it feels very, I don't know, it feels very like vibrant to me when I can really like get to know what I'm doing and focus. So I don't know if that really makes sense as self-care, but that's kind of what came to mind.
Yeah, it does. I mean, anything that feels good.
Feels good.
Feel good, TM.
Yes. What about you?
For fall, I tend to change things up similar to what you said, just kind of like slowing down. And in terms of movement, I like slower movement, more yoga, Pilates, anything that lets me lay on the floor and still get a workout.
Yes.
That like waning energy. Don't really like kind of want to work out, but don't really. So yeah, anything that gets me moving while laying on my back. Could be a lot of
Yeah,
things.
and honestly, like that's kind of interesting because I would think of like yoga and stuff too, and it's like that idea of like deepening. Like, can I take a one breath and go like deeper into this
Mm,
pose rather than like moving on to the next thing?
yeah, exactly. So normally I like vinyasa yoga, but yeah, for
Hmm.
this stuff, I like the more, um, not necessarily always restorative, but I forget the names of like the slower version of that, but just not the one where you just move with every single breath. You more just settle in deeper, like you said.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then another thing I like to do, I mean, all the time, but also especially this time of year, is just setting boundaries. Since fall is, like I said, the beginning of holiday season, it can be the busiest time of the year socially. So, in normal times, we have a lot of family obligations, work events, social gatherings, all these invitations and expectations and traditions. And we can't please everybody. We can't go to every single thing as much as we would like to. And I'm sure that many of us have tried and have burnt ourselves out. So, but those are normal times. We're not in normal times, as Kraft Macaroni and Cheese
Correct.
has told us. But especially this year, where indoor gatherings are going to be a little bit trickier and may actually be risky for your health, it's really important to protect your health, both mentally and physically. So, those boundaries are going to be really important. It's okay to say no to too many, or, it's okay to say no to holiday parties. It's okay to not feel comfortable gathering this year. And I know, like, even for myself, I don't even know if I want to, or if I feel comfortable doing anything this year as much as I want to see my family. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel great.
Yeah. And of course, if you say you don't want to go, there's like, Auntie's going to be mad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, I don't know. I feel like I haven't even let myself get there
Yeah.
yet emotionally to just like I mean, I don't really have a problem saying no if it's not safe,
Hmm.
Like I'm definitely a rule follower, so like if it's not safe, we won't be going,
Right.
but I don't know that I feel super ready to like have that be after so many months of this all going on and like whatever happens with the election and stuff to just like then also not be able to do the holidays. I don't know. That'll feel pretty bad.
Yeah. I guess it's a little early to talk about it, but we're
But
talking about
not
fall,
really.
so.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. And like, yeah, I think it's one of those situations where you just kind of like be okay to feel both, you know?
Hmm.
Feel like very steadfast in your decision to not attend something and also be okay feeling sad about that.
Yeah. I wish we
Yeah.
could have like a virtual holiday party.
I
Even though like we're
know.
all so burnt out on Zoom, like we can't even do that this year because it's like, ugh.
No. Oh my God, the thought of doing that, especially with like, I mean, no offense to all of my amazing family, but like, Jesus. The thought of everyone on Zoom, like, please
Oh God,
kill
like
me.
everyone talking over each other. And like my family's loud as it is. I can't even
Same.
imagine.
Oh God, that would be a nightmare. So, anyways, but yeah, I'm with you. It's like, who knows? Those boundaries will be interesting. Boundaries are already an issue around the holidays, like you said. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting with this added layer.
Yeah, but like I said, it's completely okay to set those boundaries and, hopefully this won't last forever. So you could always make it up to each other and see each other after the holidays if it's okay to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm like, oh, that exhausted me.
Yeah, sorry.
I feel like I just ate a whole turkey. Um, but do you want to talk about waning moon practices too? Because obviously, this is like the waning moon phase of our year. So, is there anything that kind of comes to mind for the practices you do around that phase, or just like how you think it relates?
Yeah, so we usually talk about rituals of like release and letting go around the waning moon, but I wanted to talk about forgiveness as being a good practice this time of year. So,
Mm-hmm.
letting go if we're going to go that route. So, letting go of resentment, guilt, bitterness, whatever it is that you're feeling. Um, I know that this can be tough to forgive anyone who might have hurt you or, whatever the situation is. But I look at this or this type of forgiveness as practicing radical acceptance, which is just accepting reality as it is. So that person hurt you. Forgiving it doesn't mean that it was okay or that it was good, but you're letting go of the energy in the space that you're giving to it because you don't need it. Like
Yeah.
you really don't need that. So forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean forgetting, but it means more in this context of accepting what happened and allowing yourself to move on. And it's like most situations like this, it's more for you than it is for the other person. They don't even need to know that you've forgiven them. So also, good to think about forgiveness in terms of ourselves. So, there's
Mm.
a lot of guilt this year, especially with not being able to keep up with our normal productivity levels. And I know a lot of us are feeling really behind on life because of the pandemic, and that is 1,000% okay. It's okay to take extra time to answer emails or to move deadlines if you need to, or to feed your kids mac and cheese every day for a week. I don't know why we're on like a mac and cheese theme today, but
I mean,
uh,
I'm here for it.
yeah. But if you can't handle that stuff right now, if like, you're just doing what you need to get by in a global pandemic, it's okay. So I
Yeah.
think, the world is literally on fire. So let's have some more compassion for ourselves and be a little easier on ourselves and forgive ourselves for um, not maybe not meeting the expectations that we we put on ourselves and put that pressure to perform at a certain level. So,
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I mean, I feel like tenderness is like the name of the game this time
hmm,
of year. Um, and I think that this is where kind of that, emotional, maybe not necessarily emotional intelligence, but like emotional empowerment comes into like, you have the choice. You can like judge yourself pretty harshly for where you're at. And like, Lord knows, I've definitely been in that space.
hmm,
Um, how much progress you've made, how you're feeling, if you haven't kept up on certain things, all the things that you listed. But like, the beauty of this season is that it can really be an invitation to meet yourself where you are and like not abandon yourself. Um, Even in the moments that feel disappointing or messy or maybe not what you expected or what you wanted. Um, like, what, I don't know, I keep coming back to the question, like, what if I cared for myself? Like, even if I didn't think I quote unquote deserved it, you know, like, and I think about that sometimes, even just like in the silly day to day, like, oh, I'll finish this thing and then I'll have, you know, and then I'll go for a walk because I'll have like, I'll deserve it. Like, I'm
Oh,
sure that's not
yeah.
my direct line of thinking, but like it kind of is, you know? And so this is the time to be like really caring for yourself in those ways and finding those moments and pockets of joy and what feels good and what feels like it allows you to move on, um, instead of feeling like you have to do something in order for there to be, you know, tenderness or care or compassion towards yourself. And I think the same can be asked for like about forgiving someone else or letting something go. Like they don't need to deserve, I don't know, people don't need to like deserve something to let, I don't know, to be freed up from that weight, I
Hmm.
guess, that like judgment, self judgment, other judgment can bring up.
I definitely relate to that feeling of like doing something as like a reward for
Yeah.
a certain behavior, like especially working from home. Just like you said, like, oh, I can't take a walk until I've finished this, or I can't, I can't take a break for lunch until I've worked on this. So
I mean, I even do that, like, it's so embarrassing, but like, I even do that with like, I'll be like, oh, I'll just like finish this and then I'll like go pee.
yeah, I do the
You know
same
what I
thing.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's I don't
that's
know.
fucked up.
I'm not like I know I do it, but I don't consciously think about that. It's
Yeah.
really interesting when you actually like are conscious of it because it's like, okay, what am I doing? I'm just sitting
Yeah.
here with a full bladder, not being able to concentrate because I need to go to the bathroom, but I won't let myself go to the bathroom until I finish this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel like, I don't know, I went through a phase, and actually, this was like, I think this was right after my wedding. So it would have been in the fall as well, where like to help myself, I would come back to being like, I, this is so silly, but like when I was making that choice, like, and I noticed that I was like trying to get something done before I did something for myself, or like did something for someone else before I, you know, gave myself something I needed, like lunch or whatever. I would literally be like, okay, I'm gonna choose to honor myself by going and getting a glass of water. Like, I am recognizing that I have a need and I am going to meet my need right now
Yeah.
rather than, and so just coming back, I don't know why the word honor was the one that was coming through, but just like that felt really good to me, and it actually felt really empowering, and it made me want to like continue to do it. I don't know. It felt like I was like nurturing myself rather than just being like annoyed that like, how dare I have to eat during the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on top of that, I what I found helpful was doing that time blocking in my schedule and actually scheduling in times for lunch and times for going for a walk. And that
Yeah.
helped me stick to my tasks for the day. And, I have actually scheduled this time. I've reserved time to take care of myself throughout the day. And so that's really helpful, especially, if I mean, we're all working from home for the most part right now, but we can get in those situations where maybe we're like really in a groove with work and don't want to stop, which is like, totally up to you depending on how you want to handle that. But what can happen is that we just completely ignore our needs, like you said. So I think the
Exactly.
time blocking has really helped with that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Very
And
Virgo of you.
and yeah, so the last thing we have here for you is just some nutrition tips for the luteal phase.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
luteal
When I
phase,
do
waning
take a
phase.
lunch break, what do I need?
Yeah, I know, finally. So, I mean, we talk about this regularly, but eating seasonally is important, helps align your body with nature. It's also the more sustainable option if you are able to do that because you don't need to use as many chemicals, energy, and resources to get the food that you need. And seasonal foods are more available locally too. So, also good for your budget because seasonal foods tend to be on sale. And I post a little infographic on Instagram every month about what's in season for the month. So that's an easy way to know what to expect or what's going to be available and on sale at the grocery store, depending on where you live. September's is up now. October's will be up shortly, but you know what time it is, Janine.
What time?
It's pumpkin season.
Oh, hell yes. I'm like can we talk about this? I'm actually very intimidated by pumpkins. I don't think I've ever carved a pumpkin in my whole life.
I haven't carved a pumpkin in a long time. Like for decoration, I haven't done that in a long time. I've definitely like,
And I definitely don't know what to do with it when I to cook it.
oh, it's just the same thing as like any other squash.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You just, cut it, well, cut the top off, cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, and you roast it.
Yeah.
It's very
Why does it
simple
feel scarier?
because it's a big thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And you probably, want to like slice your fingers off.
Yes, that's actually exactly what I was thinking. But oh, yes.
You know what's a
It
good
is.
tip? I don't know. I mean, maybe if you have like a personal size pumpkin. Um,
This is my personal pumpkin.
they have personal watermelons. Maybe they have.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I do this with butternut squash and spaghetti squashes. If it's small enough that it can fit in your crock pot. I know everyone has an instant pot. I don't have one. You probably can do
Me
those in there too.
neither.
But you can just stab it with a fork a bunch of times so uh, there's some holes for the steam to release and it doesn't explode.
Hmm.
Um, but just put
That
it
would really turn me off to pumpkins forever.
in the crock pot on high for a couple hours and that'll cook the inside and it
Oh,
makes it so much easier to cut rather than just trying to like stab through it and cut your fingers off. But also, you can use a paring knife if you want to. If it's a small enough squash that it's not going to be a hassle to do this, um, yeah, you can just use a paring knife and slowly go around. And I found a YouTube video on this that was really helpful, so I'll link that in the show notes so you guys
yeah.
can learn how to. But I think the crock pot is the easiest way to do it. You could also do the same thing in the oven, it just might take a little longer.
Sure.
But yeah, pumpkin season, everything pumpkin, but also just squashes, potatoes, root vegetables. Those are all nice seasonal things.
Yum. I'm
You-
just like excited. I know we talked about this on an earlier episode, like about I think it was our back to school episode. Like I'm just excited to like get back into the kitchen, like
yeah,
and roast. You know what I mean? I feel like summer cooking is a lot of like how little do I have to cook?
yeah.
But I'm
You
always
don't
like
want to
very
turn the oven.
excited. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm like always really excited. Um I'm not like a sports fan by any fucking means, but
Neither am
I
I. This is
I
not
do
a sports
appreciate the
podcast.
idea of like Sunday, like Sunday dinners and stuff and
Hmm.
like chili and soups and
Oh yeah.
squashes. I love an acorn squash.
Hmm. Yeah, the crock pot gets a workout this time of year.
Hell yes. Yes, exactly. Try time to really flex those muscles. Those set it and forget it
Yeah,
muscles.
right. Um, Also, if you're feeling that waning energy this time of year, I think it's a good thing to nourish yourself with foods rich in B vitamins because those support energy production in the body. So things like nuts, seeds, whole grains, animal proteins, especially for vitamin B12, which is really important for energy, and leafy greens as well. So those can be seasonal too. Kale's a really hardy green and it has a very long growing season and it does grow into the winter. So that's a good one. Good option for eating seasonally.
Amazing. Yes. Oh, I love that. And just like, I don't know, all you saying all of that for some reason just made me want like delicious, like roasted veggie, like bowls with like nuts and seeds and like, I don't know, it
Yeah.
just feels, I'm just excited. Although right now the idea of turning on an oven sounds truly terrible
You could
because
get a harvest bowl from Sweet Green. That's like my favorite thing
that's
to get.
true. Yes.
The
A
warm.
DIY harvest bowl life.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I what is before we wrap up, what's the like is there something about this fall that you're most excited for? Most excited to cook? I mean, obviously you have a big launch coming up.
Yes, that is coming up. I mentioned last week that I have a webinar or a workshop coming up on September 30th, and
Yes.
that's going to be on the patriarchy versus your body. Very exciting. We're going to be talking about how to break free from the cycle of the patriarchy and superpower your menstrual cycle instead. So,
Love that.
yeah, so we'll be talking a lot about that on September 30th. I also have my program coming up that I'll talk about in that workshop, and there will be more details on that next week.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. And we have a really good episode next week. Not to give any spoilers, but
Oh,
it's going to be
yeah.
really good.
I was like, wait, what are we doing?
It's a good one.
It's going to be so colorful,
So colorful.
vibrant.
Yeah, I love that. So keep an eye out, sign up for Kristen's webinar. Keep an eye out for my website that will be launched. Again, Megan, I'm so sorry. I love you so much. And in the meantime, if you have anything you want to tell us about your fall plans or your fall intentions, or if you want to ask me questions about tarot cards, email us at itsjustaphasepod@gmail.com or tag us on Instagram at itsjustaphasepod. If you liked our show, what you heard today, we'd love for you to leave us a review on iTunes. It helps all the wonderful people like you who care about self-care and smashing the patriarchy and voting and eating seasonally. All those awesome people, it helps them find us, and we love when they do. So we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.